and welcome to my tutorial on Windows Deployment Services. Windows Deployment Services enables you to deploy Windows operating systems over the network. Therefore, you do not have any reason to install each operating system directly from a CD or DVD. So days for that is totally over. Some of the benefits of this feature is that it allows network-based installation of Windows operating systems, which reduces the complexity and cost compared to manual installation. It supports deploy images from mixed environments, as well as it uses standard Windows setup technologies. It also transmits data and images by using multicast functionality. It allows you to create images of a reference computer using the image capture wizard, and it also allows you to add driver packages to the server and configure them to be deployed to client computers along with the installed image. Now let's look at setting up this Windows deployment service. Click on Start, go to Server Manager, go to Roles. Of course, we know roles take a while, it's always collecting data. Go to Add Roles. Next. Windows Deployment Services. Next. But before we go to next, let's look at what they give you a brief description as. They say that Windows Deployment Services provide a simplified, secure means of rapidly and remotely deploying Windows operating systems to computers over the network. So let's click on next. It's basically the same thing that I was saying in the introduction. They give you another introduction as to what it is. Click on next. Here, Deployment Server provides the full functionality of Windows Deployment Services, which you can use to configure and remotely install Windows operating systems. As again I said before, with Windows Deployment Services, you can create and customize images and then use them to re-image computers. Deployment Server is dependent on the core parts of Transport Server. Let's click on Next and let's install. Okay, so here you see it has been successfully installed, and you click on Close. So we're going to go back to our Server Manager. Click on Roles, and here you see your Windows Deployment Service. Let's open it. So in there you're seeing that there's basically nothing in there. Let's close, go back to Start, Server Manager. So we'll have to configure this for sure because there's nothing showing in it. So we're going to go back to Roles, go back to Roles, still collecting data. Go to our Windows Deployment Services, and you see in your server, and it's not configured, so let's configure it. So let's go ahead and configure our server. Let's click, see what it has in there. Our server here. Right click, configure server. Click on next. Here they ask you where you want to store it. I'm storing it on my C drive, and I'm going to click on next. They warn you about the volume because based on the image that you're actually going to boot, it might be very large. So they're telling you here that the volume selected is also the Windows volume system. We recommend that the remote installation folder be placed on a separate volume. So if you have external or wherever you want to save it on, you can save it there. Click on yes. We're going to be using these two. Click on next. And we want it to respond to all clients. Click on finish. So we're waiting on the process to complete because we're configuring our Windows deployment service server right now. So now that it has finished, we click on finish. Right. So now you see I have configured my server. When you open my server, you'll see install images, boot images, legacy images, pending devices, multicast, as I spoke about earlier. Now what we want to do is go into boot image. I'm dealing with boot image in this tutorial. Now if you click on boot image, you will see there are no items to show, right? I'm gonna right click, add boot image, gonna browse. Let's see, go to computer, let's see what it has here. Gonna go to boot. Let's go to the source folder. And we're gonna come back to this file here. And we're gonna click on open. Next, we're gonna click on next. And we're gonna click on next. Click on next. It's adding the image. So here you see where the image is being added, so we'll just wait until it's added. Okay, so the operation has been completed. So it's saying that the selected images were successfully added to the server. You click on finish. So here you see in your Microsoft Windows that I took from the image and I put it into the boot system and I booted it up. So what we want to do now, after booting the image, we want to install the image. So basically the same procedure. You go to here, you right click, add install image, next, browse, install, next, and here you see we're going to install that, next, next. Okay, so now we see that the selected images were successfully added to the server, and we click on finish. Perfect. So we can close off this, minimize, and what we want to do now is go to Windows 7. So we're going to go here, and that we have booted. We're going to go on Windows 7. And here we have a practice, right click, settings, we are going to go to network, host only adapter, go to advanced, and we're going to allow all, click on OK, and we're going to power this on. So we need to ensure that it's on the network, so we can see that it is. Starting the virtual machine. Okay, so once we have powered on our Windows 7 machine, here you can see it is showing you the VirtualBox temporary boot device selection. So we have booted the files, we have installed them, and we're going to test to see if it's actually working, right? So when you press on F12, after we did all the network configurations, You will see here other boot devices. You want to click on L for LAN and okay, so after you have pressed L for LAN and F12, you will see this image showing up here. This is the Windows 7, which has been booted from the bootable image. Thank you very much, and I do hope this was an informative video on deployment.